Hello, welcome. We have more parables. Let's just jump into Matthew chapter 13, verse 44. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. So these two say the same thing. Jesus is the man and the merchant, and we are the treasures and pearls, which is really cool that God considers us his treasure. And within biblical context, what we consider treasure probably doesn't even match up to what God considers treasure, so that's good. Next parable. Once again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net that was let down into the lake and caught all kinds of fish. And when it was full, the fishermen pulled it up on the shore. They sat down and collected the good fish in baskets, but threw the bad away. This is how it will be at the end of the age. The angels will come and separate the wicked from the righteous and throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. This one is very similar to the one we had the other week. Just like the weeds will be thrown away, the bad fish will be thrown away. I've done a little bit of fishing before, and I know that there are some fish that you just throw back. There's a fish called red Irish lord, but we call them uglies. They look cool and tough on the outside, but realistically they're useless. So that's what happens to those who don't believe in the way, the truth, and the life. But those who do, we get to be taken in by God. Now, of course, this is one of those where you can't take the metaphor too far, because usually you gut fish open and cook them, which is not how it's like for us. The kingdom of heaven is a luxurious place, so don't worry. Verse 51. Have you understood all these things? Jesus asked. Yes, they replied. He said to them, Therefore, every teacher of the law who has been instructed about the kingdom of heaven is like the owner of a house who brings out of his storeroom new treasures as well as old. Jesus was telling the disciples that they are now responsible to tell what he has said to everyone else. But it is also true of us as well. The part about bringing out new and old treasures more or less refers to the New and Old Testament. This, of course, speaks to the fact that God does not change his mind. If we believe that the New Testament is true, then we need to believe that the Old Testament is true. Of course, in that time, people would probably have questioned the opposite. Most did obey the old laws, but some did not want to believe in Jesus's. Both are very important. So this next passage is in 3 of the Gospels. Let's read the Luke version. Luke 8, verse 22. One day Jesus said to his disciples, Let's go over to the other side of the lake. So they got into a boat and set out. As they sailed, he fell asleep. A squall came down on the lake, so the boat was being swamped, and they were in great danger. The disciples went and woke him, saying, Master, Master, we're going to drown. He got up and rebuked the wind and the raging waters. The storm subsided, and all was calm. Where is your faith? He asked his disciples. In fear and amazement they asked one another, Who is this? He commands even the winds and the water, and they obey him. So it would be very likely that Jesus wanted to cross the Lake of Galilee to strengthen his disciples' faith. He saw that a storm was coming. It doesn't really say if the disciples noticed or not. It's possible that the storm was conjured up by Satan in order to take out Jesus. It could have also just been a normal storm, but the fact that the later verse says that Jesus rebuked the storm probably confirms that Satan had something to do with it. Rebuke is defined as expressing sharp disapproval or criticism of someone because of their behavior or actions. It would seem pretty childish to rebuke a regular storm, so it must have had some supernatural elements to it. It's possible that the disciples did believe that Jesus could calm the storm, but Jesus' attitude suggests that there was a lot of doubt in their speech. In the Luke version, they say, Master, Master, we're going to drown. In the Matthew version, they say, Lord, save us, we're going to drown. In the Mark version, they say, Teacher, don't you care if we drown? We can be like that sometimes. When we get scared, it's easy to doubt. It's not easy, but realizing that
God is bigger than the boogeyman
can give you a lot of strength if you believe it. Funny fact, that VeggieTales episode scared the heck out of me when I was a kid, even though it was supposed to do the opposite. Anyways, Jesus questions their faith, and sometimes I'm sure he questions ours. We need to discipline ourselves to have strong faith. Some have pointed out that Jesus said, "Let's go over to the other side of the lake," and not, "Let's see if we can make it to the other side of the lake." He already told them that they were going to make it to the other side. Some have attributed this to Christianity itself. Jesus said that Christianity will always exist, not that there's a good chance that's going to make it through. Interesting to think about. As of writing this, I don't know if this story will be in the final episodes of the 3rd season of The Chosen, or maybe in the next season, but it seems like there might have been some foreshadowing in an earlier episode. Simon Peter is talking to a Roman, and he's explaining that Yahweh isn't just the God of water, but he is the God of everything. The disciples' reaction kind of reminds me of that. Jesus is the God of everything, and he is stronger than everything. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good week.